friends. This is Kristin Cary in part 2 of my grounding episode. If you haven't already listened to part 1, I recommend you go back and do that. But if you just want to stay camped out here, I'm going to give you a little recap. In the last episode, I talked about the importance of learning how to get present in our bodies and in the present moment. And I used the term grounding for that. It's the idea of being rooted in the present moment in my body, like a tree is always grounded, right? Unless you chop it down. The roots go deep down into the earth. And when I, as a human being, am grounded, it means that I am able to be present. Being present in my body and in my mind opens up a ton of possibilities for me. It makes it so much easier to hear God and to feel and experience His love flowing through my life. Being present can lend a lot of help towards helping my frontal lobe function optimally. My frontal lobe is the part of my brain responsible for logic, impulse control, problem solving, so many things. So when we get to a place where we're either acting out in an addiction or reeling in tornado brain or in a rage because of our betrayal trauma, those are signs that we are not grounded in the present moment, and understandably so, especially for the betrayal. It's understandable that being present feels scary and difficult, but we are urged over and over and over in scripture, right, to stay in the present moment, to forget what lies behind, to move forward. It's pretty much impossible to do that when you're reeling from trauma. And the scripture also talks about the need for us to be, when we are brokenhearted, to experience healing and freedom and release and binding up our hearts. And I wish this was a quick process, but the reality is it is not. Learning how to ground is not going to stop you from struggling with unwanted sexual behavior, and it's not going to just completely solve your betrayal trauma. However, it is a really important tool that can help you to stay focused on the work at hand. It can help you have clarity in making the right decisions to protect yourself, making the right decisions about the therapists you need to hire, the groups you need to join, the different decisions that you need to make to protect your children, etc. Grounding exercises can be varied, and not everyone will work for every person every time. In fact, if you do some more calming grounding exercises and you find yourself feeling just completely flooded by really overwhelming emotions or thoughts, you are not alone, and there's nothing wrong with you. You are probably traumatized, and you may need some more support. You may need a person with you to try some different grounding strategies, or you may benefit from more physically active grounding strategies instead of the more calming, breathing-based ones. For example, in my last episode, I talked about just getting outside and taking a walk. And there's so many reasons why that can be very grounding and regulating. If you're not down for a sweat fest with your running shoes on, you can also go outside and put your feet in the grass. Now, I am recording this in January in Indiana, and we are in the Arctic blast. So I don't recommend this if you're listening to this episode and it's freezing cold, but it will get warm again. I keep telling myself that. And in the warmer months, putting your feet in the literal grass, breathing in the air, listening to the birds, going through all 5 of your senses can be amazing. I'm going to do something called the 5 senses grounding strategy with you, and I'm going to do it indoors because it's January. But my favorite way to do this would be to go outside and dial into what I smell, what I feel, what I hear, what I see, what I taste out in nature, because God's creation is so healing. He designed it to be healing. But when we spend all day long looking at screens and indoors, right? We don't have the benefit of nature that God created to heal us. Okay, so 5 senses. Let's just dive into this. Now, if you're driving, you have to be careful, right? To stay attuned. And I don't know about you, but I listen to podcasts when I drive all the time. So when people are like, don't do this if you're driving, I'm like, what? I only listen to podcasts when I drive. So I'm going to try to do a driver friendly one. Okay. So you go through your 5 senses. I like to start with sight because I feel like it's easiest to find 5 things that I see that are green. Let's go with green. Okay. You pick a color, it doesn't matter. And you're going to pick those 5 things and say them out loud. So I'm going to practice this. My lotion cap, some of the logo on my mug, the green leaves on this plant that my daughter gave me for Mother's Day. This little scripture card has green logos on it. And then I have a green dry erase marker here. So that's 5 things that I see. Next, I'm going to go 4 things that I can feel. So I feel the smoothness of my desk. I feel the soft foam of my microphone. You guys might have heard me tapping my microphone. That's 2. I feel the rough fabric of my chair. That's 3. And I feel this little hair tie coil, which is kind of springy. That's 4 things that I can feel. Let me go now to 3 things that I can hear. I hear my sound machine. I hear the sound of my voice. And I can hear the heat being pushed out of my heat vent up above. Next, let's go 2 things that I can taste. Oh, I've got a sucker right here. I did not plan this ahead, you guys. Yep, that's pretty good. And I do have some mints. I have not opened this package yet though. So I'm going to open this package of mints and see, you guys can tune in what you can hear. You can probably hear the scrunchy noise of my mint bag. So this is my second thing. I can smell this. Oh my gosh, I did taste and I said I was going to do smell, you guys. I'm not even going to fix this. I'm a human being and I make mistakes. So 2 things that I can smell would be, I can also smell this sucker. Yep, it smells very fruity. I can smell this mint. And now I can taste. That's one thing I can taste. It's good. I got to take it out though, because I don't want to talk to you guys with a mint in my mouth. I'll finish it later. So 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. The idea is to get present in the moment and look around you and name different things. And that can help you ground into current reality. Now, the more dysregulated, traumatized, and upset you are, the less effective one grounding strategy by itself is going to be. We are deeply relational creatures, and our attachment to our primary person, usually our spouse as adults, is so important to our survival that when it gets compromised or threatened, our brains go nuts, pumping out adrenaline and cortisol. And when I say our brains go nuts, I do not mean that you're crazy. If you have gone through betrayal, let me just tell you right now, you are not crazy. You are traumatized. When I say your brain goes crazy, what I mean is it wreaks havoc on our threat system. And betrayal isn't a quick, fast threat that just comes and goes, like a burglar trying to get into your house. Betrayal is ongoing. Sometimes we're sleeping right next to that person that our brain registers as a threat, but our brain is also looking at this person as our primary attachment. And this is why healing is so complex. Now, what I want to encourage you is if that 5 senses grounding strategy is not effective for you, don't give up. Try other strategies. Ask if this feels right, if this feels good. Ask somebody else to breathe with you or to hug you while you cry, to bring you Comfort. You need and deserve comfort in the present moment. This is not an easy journey to be on, whether you are the one struggling with unwanted sexual behavior and you're reeling from shame and wanting to self-protect and wanting to dodge the truth about what you've done, or you are a person who's gone through betrayal. I want you to consider, even right now, all the different ways that you are trying to avoid the current moment and your present reality because it is just too painful. And to be honest, sometimes it's totally fine to take a break from the pain and the trauma. What happens is if we don't allow ourselves those gentle moments to get present in the moment, to not super hyper focus on the betrayal or the unwanted sexual behavior, but just to breathe, to try to calm and quiet our minds, to get present to God, to hear his voice, we end up using other substances or behaviors to try to numb ourselves. So what I want to encourage you to do is try to notice in the next hour how many times you are not present. You're not in your body. You're dissociating. We all do it. I mean, how many times have you been driving somewhere and you get there and you don't remember any of your driving experience because you were so tornado in your head thinking about other things? And this can be a shock absorber for our souls, but there comes a time where the need to learn how to get present in our bodies, how to slow and calm our heart rates, and to get present in the moment, and to be able to regulate our nervous system that is in hyperdrive, fight or flight, and to dial it back into a rest and digest mode to spend the majority of our time. There are times where that is what we really need to focus on. Now, if you're struggling with this, I want to encourage you to consider joining Women in the Battle. Every single week, we do grounding strategies together during our group sessions. It is a cornerstone of our program. We're only open very short windows, a few times a year. It is the best place you never wanted to be. And there's just so much support, so much love, and so much help learning how to use these grounding strategies to get present in the present moment. If you're a man struggling with unwanted sexual behavior, I want to urge you and encourage you to join Men in the Battle while it is open. A brotherhood of men who are supporting each other in getting freedom from unwanted sexual behavior. Friends, we are wounded in relationship and we heal through relationship. There is no way we can heal from our betrayal trauma or from unwanted sexual behavior alone or without a band of sisters or a band of brothers around us. It is imperative. It is the way God designed us. Thank you so much for dialing into this episode today. I'm going to do one more breathing grounding exercise with you before I sign off. So what I want to encourage you to do is just notice any tightness or tension you're holding in your body. I usually start with my shoulders because that's where I tend to hold a lot of my stress. So roll your shoulders back and then roll them forward. Slow and steady your breathing. And I notice that a lot of times I end up rocking side to side when I let my body do what it feels like it needs to do when I'm grounding. It's similar to when you think about trying to hold a fussy baby. We tend to rock as we're holding them. And I am going to prompt you to do some breathing while your body does whatever it feels like it needs, whether it's rocking side to side or swaying back and forth. And I'm going to ask you to breathe in for a count of 6. Actually, let's go in for 4. If you want to bump it up to 6 or even 8, you're welcome to do that. But I want to start with a number that is more accessible to more people, depending on your lung capacity and your fitness state and all of that. So, what I'm going to do is count to 4 for an in breath. Then I'm going to ask you to hold it for 4. And then we're going to go out for double what we go in. So, if you're going in for 4 with me, your out breath is going to be out for 8. And you might want to even put a hand on your heart to notice what's going on in your chest, in your heart area as you do these breaths. I recommend you sit up tall or stand so that your lungs have the greatest ability to expand, and breathe in with me for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. And out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. And out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And one more. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. And out. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. And out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just notice what has changed or shifted for you. Has your breathing slowed? Do you think your heart rate has slowed down? What's your anxiety level at now compared to before you did this deeper breathing? As I mentioned before, if you're stuck with feeling, oh my gosh, all the stuff I've been holding down and suppressing is now popping up in my face, know that you are not alone. You're not too broken to do grounding. It tells you, it gives you information that you have a lot on your plate that you need to deal with. And I urge you, friends, to take care of yourself. Make your healing a priority. Nobody else is going to take responsibility for your own recovery and healing but you. And you are completely 100% worth it. God has so much more for you. He has plans to free you. But we have to do our part to cooperate with his invitation to healing and restoration. Will you take that invitation? Take his hand? I am so grateful to have this time with you. Thank you for dialing in to this episode. Would you take a moment to rate and review the Living Truth podcast on whatever format or whatever way that you dial into us? That would really help, because the more you rate and review our podcast, the more people will find us and get the help and support that we provide for people struggling with unwanted sexual behavior and for betrayed partners. And until the next episode, I am holding out hope for you.